Why do they work? They work for a very simple reason, is that if you break us down to our basic molecule systems, we operate on programs. I use the word programs because for me, it's the easiest to understand, but it's one of the same as paradigms. We are born with preset programs for survival. I'm going to kind of dip for 1 second into mental development and how I use this when I'm working with somebody for anxiety, because anxiety and stress and that feeling of uneasy is actually very natural inside of all of us because it's one of our natural programs that we're born with. Our ancestors passed this down to us in our DNA so that we have at least some sense of a survivor skill. The only problem is that these programs are old. They are based on information from literally thousands of years ago. If you think about our existence on this planet, our brains, the time that we have been at least monitoring them, we have only spent a very short time living in an environment of comfort where we don't have to worry about whether are we going to live or die at the end of this day. Roughly, I would say, what about maybe 3,000 years? And even of that, the last 2,500 were extremely violent, where that risk was still high. If you really want to call it comfort, I would say the last 300 years. Our brain is still waking up every single morning and asking, where's the danger? Because it's still going, I need to run from that saber-toothed tiger. As silly as that sounds, that is our raw core program, right? Like when you buy a phone and it comes with preset programs, we are the exact same way. We are wired from the factory with certain programs. Programs run automatically. There's nothing that we can do about them from the top level. There is something, but that takes work. But they just kick in, right? As soon as you open your eyes, your programs kick in. And if you've ever woken up kind of anxious or kind of going like, why do I feel uneasy? It's probably a thought that you had the night before that manifested itself into anxiety in the morning. I know I have. John Maxwell, one of his quotes that I love is, none of us are born bad, but no one teaches us how not to be either. And I think there's a lot of truth to this statement. Even though all of us as parents try our best that I really enjoyed reading was Sean Akers' Before Happiness. And this is a guy that took the scientific and mathematical aspect to happiness. And he wanted to prove with math and science that our thoughts do have control over how we feel. And what he found out is that there's actually a ratio of the amount of positive to negative information that our brain needs in order for us to just be neutral, not happy, not sad, just be. And that ratio is 3 positive thoughts for every 1 negative thought. It can be a thought, or it can be just outside information. Now, if you live in the world that I live in, negative information is all around us. It doesn't matter where we go, there's plenty of it on our phones, on social media, on the news. People are not really the happiest. One of the things that I can still recall, like it happened yesterday, was at the end of the St. Louis National Convention when Jeff said, "You guys have spent the last 3 days here within this bubble of happiness, and I'm about to release you into the world, back into the world full of negative people." He said, "You're going to run into them at the gas station, at the hotel, at the airport." And it's so true. We cannot get away from it. But I can assure every single one of you, me included, do not take the daily effort to improve the number of positive thoughts or positive things we hear throughout the actual day. I had to work at it and make it a habit to where I have a structure, X amount of hours of positive things that I have to do. And now I'm at a point where if I'm not doing it, I will stop myself. I will turn the negative crap off and say, all right, I need to listen to something positive. I have to counteract this negative information that I just took in just to stay plateau, just to be average, which I don't think any one of us want to be average, right? It takes a ratio of 6-to-1 to actually feel happy. Oh, wow. This is not a simple task, but what I'm going to show you is actually going to improve and help you have this ratio. Because yes, it is difficult to sometimes find the right content at the right moment that's going to make us feel the best, right? We've all had moments where we've listened to a particular podcast or a particular piece of information, and sometimes it sounds amazing, and other times like, I just don't want to hear this right now. I need something else. I need a different thought. And that can be frustrating because now you are already in that moment of, God, this sucks. And now you're having a hard time figuring out whether this is the right thing. It just adds to it. The whole experience, your moment to capture this and make it into something awesome is gone. So by learning how to do affirmations, by learning how to do I am statements, you can recall that by simply reciting it. Our amazing brains, and they really are. We always hear how we don't use our entire brain. Our brains have this, our brains have that. The more that I dive in and learn in this field, the more I'm amazed at how incredible our brain power is and what we do with it. Because everything that we are creating around us, as far as technology, our brain already has. What does that mean? Because of the power of our frontal lobe, which is the problem-solving powerhouse, combined with the amygdala, which regulates fear and threat, is the one defining point between us and most other animals on this planet, is that we have this ability to create a virtual reality of whatever it is that we're feeling or thinking. We all understand that each one of us has a different point of view. Those of you that are listening to me right now are all hearing different things. I'm saying the same thing, but you're all hearing it a little bit different because you're seeing it, or it's being processed through your internal filter, which is creating your actual reality. There's this old picture where it shows that the camera is actually inside of the head and it's broadcasting out through the eyes. That really is how it is. It's not that the information that enters our eyes is instantly broadcasted. It's filtered. It goes through a system. And the way that we can recognize this is that, again, you can be in two completely different states of mind and see the exact same thing and have two different reactions from it. We've all done it, especially when it comes to our spouses. If there's a certain person that can test your inner emotions, it's the person that you live with. And there are moments when that person can say something and you feel it as a positive thing, or they'll say the exact same thing, the exact same way, but because you feel different, you hear it a little bit different. We've all experienced this. We may not have been aware of it at the moment, but we have all had that feeling, that sensation, that experience, because our brains create the reality that we are constantly thinking about, right? You have this ability to kind of go, and then this virtual reality creates, and it is the world that you perceive as it is. Now, The problem is this virtual reality is running on those old programs. And those old programs are not designed for today's virtual reality. They're still trying to run away from saber-toothed tigers while you're over here trying to spin up Mario Brothers, right? It's just not going to work. This virtual reality will illustrate whatever it is that you tell it to. It will take in the information that you give it through your ears, eyes, touch, smells, right? Your basic senses. And from that, it creates the experience, right? Like when you go to a restaurant that just has the most amazing ambiance. The lighting is the perfect brightness. The sound is just at the right level. It has a great smell. The seats are comfortable. The food is amazing. Every single one of your senses activated, triggered in the language that you like to hear, see, and feel. That changes you, that moves you, that leaves an impression inside of you because your virtual reality at that moment is being adjusted because you have all of these positive inputs coming in. This virtual mind of ours is powerful, and we got to learn how to use it. It will create for us whatever it is that we really wish for. We just got to learn how to speak the language that it understands. Have you ever thought about something with such focus that you almost felt like it was real?
Yes.
You have experienced this probably many times in your life. You just didn't realize that you were experiencing it. I cannot be the only person that has this superpower because I don't think it's a superpower. Obviously, the older we get, the more our brains become busy, the more we become cynical. We don't have that experience as often, but when we really want to, we do have it. Have you ever thought about something and gotten goosebumps? That's you changing your virtual reality. You're changing your virtual state. You may not be seeing that, but your body is responding to it because of the changes happening in your mind. Your body's telling you that by giving you goosebumps. Your body reflects what your mind is generating, creating, feeling. The two places where I used to daydream like crazy was in school and riding in the car. Think back to a moment where you felt so much something that you were focused on at such a degree, to such a point that you can still remember it. Each one of us has something. If you just take the time to think back and go, I had this moment, or I have something that I remember or recall from the past, something that I really wanted, that I kind of created in my mind. We've all done it. It's part of this amazing thing that our brains do. In order to train the virtual world, you need to understand these programs are being administrated by your personal assistant, which we dive into in the next video. Programs are being administrated by your personal assistant. This exists inside each and every one of us. We all come factory wired with this little thing inside of us that just wants to do whatever it is that we do often. It's called a habit. When you wake up in the morning, you don't think, all right, move left foot down, move right foot down, sit up, stand up. None of that goes through your mind. You're doing that as you are already thinking about what's happening on Facebook, because that program kicks in. You have this program because you have a little personal assistant. I would look at it as a personal AI, so somebody who's there to capture whatever you do on a regular basis and make it into a program. That's your AI's job. Your assistant looks for repetition, and the more often that something appears in this crazy haze of information that's going on in your mind, it begins to take notice of it and kind of create a temporary file for it. Like, let's see, maybe it's needed. If not, it'll get trashed. Once your personal assistant has seen a repetition of something for 26 to 30 days, the new habit program paradigm begins to take form. But right now, new program name, but it doesn't know what to call it, this program. It doesn't know what feelings to attach to it. It doesn't know what this is for. It's not its job to know. Its job is to create it. You get to name this function and what it does. And you've done this so many times in your life, aka learning how to walk, learning how to brush your teeth, learning how to drive, learning how to ride a bike. Each one of those skills you did multiple times, your AI saw that you're doing them, it created that program, and then all the feelings and visual information around it and audio was attached to that program. That's why when you walk into a certain place and smell something, you can instantly think of a memory, or you can think of a memory and remember how that place smelled. It's because they are attached. Again, back to anxiety, because this is one of the easier ones to kind of teach this on. When a person has anxiety in various different places, they get an emotional attachment to those places. And when they return to them, the anxiety is triggered faster because those places have been experienced while the anxiety program was running. Because while that program was open and running, it's capturing all the information. What is it seeing? What is it hearing? What is it smelling? What is it feeling? And it creates this updated program to now when you look at a place, boom, it's triggered. Why is this important? Is because I'm going to show you guys how to use the I am statements to create emotional attachments to programs. Thank you for watching. Please make sure you like, subscribe, and comment below. And if you know anyone who could benefit from the information in my videos, please share it with them. Thank you for watching. Please make sure you like, subscribe, and comment below. And if you know anyone who could benefit from the information in my videos, please share it with them.